yesterday we have seen basic Linux commands. Till date, we have learned how to create a local virtual machine to practice Linux. Second thing, yesterday we saw how we can create a virtual instance using cloud. And third option, using playwithdocker.com. So now here, Linux is a huge and there are a lot of commands. If you think of Linux administrator role, then you need to be very good in all Linux commands and you need to be master in Linux. But as far as DevOps role is concerned, we don't need to go in depth in a Linux administration role. There are only 20 to 30 commands that we will use in every day and that we need to understand. And for that purpose, I have shared this Ubuntu cheat sheet with you already in a group. So you can make use of it. You can practice all those commands. And this is sufficient for Linux role. Okay, so let's have understanding of these commands. And at this only page 1 and page 2 will be used by DevOps engineer. So this is a sheet which will very rare we will use these commands and even you can ignore them. So you need to practice first 2 pages and that's sufficient for your DevOps role. Okay. So first here you can see these are the system related commands. Then these are the files related commands. So we have already covered these files related command ls, touch, cp, mv, rm. Then there are directory navigation. So we have also covered this directory navigation commands. Then system related means just like we are monitoring our CPU is RAM usage, that related commands are there. So this is a simple command uname -a. Okay, is it visible to all? Okay, let me make it zoom. Okay, now you can read it perfectly. So this is uname -a. So it displays all system information. So information about the Linux. Then hostname CTL. So shows the current hostname and related details. ls CPU list CPU architecture information. And then this is a time date CTL status. So it shows system time of a Linux machine. So then these are the other commands. So we will see these commands. And then today's agenda is we want to learn user creation. So how we can create the new users in a Linux. So that will be on a page 2, I guess. Yes. So this is our agenda today, users and groups. So how we can create a new users, how we can delete users, how we can set the password for the users, and how we can unlock the password. So you can see it is very easy. These are the commands is given here, and we will practice these commands today. Okay. So now let's move back to the our virtual machine. Because virtual machine, I am using virtual machine because this is a full Linux machine. So we can have the complete understanding of the Linux. So this is our machine, VM Linux, which we created yesterday. Click on connect and select this. And once it is validating, we are good to connect to the Linux machine. So it will ask you, type yes, and you will connect. So now you can see you are connected here. As soon as you connect, you will see the system information. So this is the system information. This is the system load, how much system is used, how many processes are running in Linux machine, usage of percentage. So we have 30 GB assigned disk. Out of that, we have used only 6.9%. So this is system. Then memory usage 35%, swap usage 0%, IPv address for Ethernet 0 card. So this is a IP address of this machine Ubuntu which we have connected. And here we can see as well as last login, it is showing when we have logged into this machine and from which IP we have logged in. So this is our IP from which we have logged in. So let me clear this so you will see it. Okay. So now you can see if I type W, it shows me who is logged in. So this is my ID, username, user is enrolled to, from which IP address it is logged in. So this is the CPU and what. So this is my username and password. So this W command. So how I came to know? Using this cheat sheet. So this command shows you who is logged in. Then now let's say I have to add the user. Okay. So if I have to add the user, so it simply creates a new user. So sudo add user. So this is a command. You can see this is a command we have typed. Okay. So here, correct. So this is sudo add user is a command, and I have to give the name of a user, which user I want to create. So let's create a user dev, and it will create the new user. So here you just simply just type the command. It will not give. It will give you such error because here with this command we need to pass the parameter or we need to pass the value to it. So here, just like we do in Windows, it is asking to set the password. So we are creating a user called a dev, and for that user, we need to create a password. So password, you can put any password and it will not display. Okay, I am typing the password, but you will not able to see. So you can see the level of security is high. Even you cannot see in Windows, you can see the some dots. So you can guess at least what is the length of a password. But in Linux, you cannot see the length of password. It do not show or how many characters you have used. Okay, then you can enter the full name. Let's make it Dev Sharma. Roll number. These are optional parameters. You can skip it. Just press enter, and it will. So it will ask, is it correct information? Press Y if it is correct. If it is by mistake, you can type no. Then it will reject and it will ask you to enter one more time. So this is the process using which we can create the user. So now here user has been created. So here, if I type W, you can see I am logged in with this user. Okay. But now here I want to switch login with the newly created user. So how I can do that? So then there is a command called SU. SU for switch user. And I will type dev. And now you can see as soon as I type dev, so it is asking me for the password. So what is the password I have typed? I will enter it. And now you can see it is showing. Let me show it at the top. Okay. Now you can see it is showing Dev has been logged in, and where it is logged in, it is logged into the host VM Linux. So this is a machine name or a computer name where user is logged in. And now here, if I try to create the files, let me try to create the files. Touch sample file. You can see permission denied. Why? Because in Linux, user and file, we have to give the permissions. So by default, the location of user here you can see home/enroll to upskill. So this is a different user and there I have logged in. So if I want to make changes, I need to go to the home folder where, so how I can do that? CD home and then name of the user. So if I now you can see this, you are at the location. So I have cd home/dev. It means I came to the my root location of this user. If I now here, I can create the files. If I do ls, now you can see I am able to create the files. Why? Because in Linux, just like in Windows, we have profiles, user profiles. You cannot log into the other user's profile, and you cannot create the files and folders in Windows until and unless you are administrator. Here, same thing in Linux also, you cannot access the files of your other user, or you cannot make changes to the another user's location. So here, what we have done, as soon as I switch back to my home location, so whenever we create any user, so his location is get created with /home/dev. Okay. So now here I can create the files, I can make the changes of my own directory. So how I can see that? So go to home and do ls. Okay. And slash is referred in Linux as a root. So this is a root. And if I do ls, you can see these are the files. So this is a file structure in Linux. So just like in Windows, we have a C program files, Windows 32. So like we have a file structure in Windows. Similarly, Linux has its own file structure. So these are the file structures. And let me show you, explain it in a very well, how files are organized. Let's go to the images. And I think this will help. Yes. So this is a structure of a Linux. So this slash is nothing but root. We call it as a root folder. Just like in Windows, we create the drives, and C drive we use by default for installing the operating system. And in C drive, we have all our configuration files, etc. Same way in Linux, slash is referred as a root, and this root is having all the files. So here you can see these are the bin. Bin means binary files. Then dev means devices. So this dev stands for devices. Whatever devices or drivers are connected to that machine, that information is stored in this directory. Then there is etc slash, then usr slash. So home/library files, sbin, temp files, and variables files. So these are the usr files contains bin, man, library, local, and shared drives. So these are the user related information stored into that /usr. Then home/. So home/ is a default location of a user. So now we have created a user called dev, and if I do home/dev, so this is my default path where I can access the files and I can start working. And then these are the libraries. So library files, you already know, whatever files we need, those are stored in this library folder. Then sbin, tmp, var, log, lock, tmp. So let's see the same structure in our machine. So here you can see this is a structure where you can see, but this is here you can see bin files are there, run files are there. Then some files are less minus, but it depends depending on which flavor of Linux you are using. So here you can see boot is there. So boot means the starting point of any operating system from where your operating system gets started. Then dev stands for devices, etc, home, lib, libraries, and then lib64. These are system files. Then lost and found, media, mnt means mount, opt means optional files, proc, root, run, sbin. So this is a file structure. So now let's find where our default location of this user. So I can go for cd and type home. If I do ls, I will see these are the default users in my Linux machine. So these are the users. Azure user is the one user, dev is another user, and this is general 2 is another user. So if I created one more user. So we will see that user location will be get created here. But now here again, can this dev user create the another user? Let's try it. Sudo add user and let's give a Ramesh. Now you can see it is asking sudo password for dev. So this will so here we need to configure the sudo password for, or we need to make this user as admin, just like in Windows. If you create a normal user account, he will not able to access the files, or he will not able to install the files. If you are a working professional, you may have experienced on your office laptop, you don't have access to install the applications. It asks for the admin password. That admin is nothing but sudo in Linux. So here you can see the user is not able to create the user accounts. Why? Because it is asking for the sudo password, and that password which we don't have. But by default, the user which we have created, it will be part of a sudo group. So it will have by default access. So here, if we don't have a password, so you can press Control C, because we don't have a password, we will get out of it. And then we will now here, if you want to create the user, so we should be admin, or we should have a sudo access. So how to do that? Again, we can do su and just press enter. And now here it is asking for the password. So the user account which we have created, we have not set the password. If you remember yesterday, we have not set any password for this user account which we have created. So what we can do, we can do exit and it will log out. So it is, so now what I did, I have logged in with this dev. So now you can see it was showing dev at the rate VM Linux. So this is a, now I am log out typing exit. So now here I am logged in with my default account. You can see if I see W, you will see this is my user account. So now let's try to create a one more user. Okay, add user is a command which is given in documentation. But at the same time, there is a one more command, user add. Let's type it. So you can see it simply added the user. How we can check that? We know the location where all the user folders are available. So that is home, right? So here we can do ls home. Sorry. So you can see here it is Azure user, dev, and enroll to upskill. Okay, but here it did not create the any location for this user, Ramesh, or neither it has set any password. So in some Linux versions, you will use sudo add user in for Ubuntu and user add for the other versions of Linux. So here are little bit some 10 to 20% commands will be different, but 80 to 90% command will work same as it is. Okay, so let's so now there is a command of creating a user, and then the next command is deleting the user. How we can delete the user? So you can simply see this is a command sudo del user and then username. If we want to set the password, we can type sudo and password. Will set a password or change the password for this user. Or if we want to lock the account, then we can type this command sudo password -l and then username. Then the user will not able to access. Okay. So now here, one more thing, group management. So for example, whenever we create any user, then let's say we have created user. If I type id dev, so you will see here id dev. So you will see here he whenever we create any user account, so it gets user ID. So you can see here 1002 is a user ID of dev, and this is GID, means group ID. 1002 is a group ID for the dev, and then these are the groups who is a member of this user. Means when we create a user, it creates automatically user ID and the group ID. So let's create a one more user. So you can see user is already exist. Okay. So how we can get the details of that ID? Ramesh. So you can see when we create this user Ramesh, it has created user ID for Ramesh as 1003, group ID 1003, and groups 1003 Ramesh. But now here we created this user using the command user add. And now you know we don't have the password created for this user. Now here, if I do su Ramesh, it is asking me for the password. But now, do we have any password? Because we have not set any password. So how I can log into that? So then, being an admin user, I can come here and I can see the password command. This is a command using which I can set the password for this user. So simply I will type sudo. Okay. So here I came just because of I don't have a password, it went into interrupted session. So I did a control C and I came out of it. So now here sudo and then username Ramesh. Okay, let's check. Am I logged in with the which user? Okay, so I have logged out from the Linux session. That's why you can see if I type a W command, it is not showing me any details. So here where I am into Azure CLI. So now let's reconnect. So you can see the black screen, which you are able to see. This is your Azure CLI. It means it is a machine using which we can connect to our Linux machine. Okay. Now you can see you are connected to the Linux machine. Let me zoom it. Okay. So we have to check the Ramesh user. Okay. And now here we have to set the password for this Ramesh. So now it is asking to set a new password. So let's set a password for him. So you can see password updated successfully. Now if I do su Ramesh, I have a password. The password I have set is Ramesh123. And now if I do W, it should show me the name of a Ramesh. Okay, but it is not showing Ramesh name. It means it is not logged in. Let me try again why it is not logged in. Okay. So password, so it means like when I use a command, add user, so it has not created properly user account. So that's why if I am trying to log in with that user, Ramesh, it is not able to log in with me. But when I try su dev, it is asking me for a password and I am able to log in properly. So let's delete that user. Simple command. Now here you can see how easy it to practice. You have to just read this cheat sheet, how to create user, sudo del user. So this is a command. So sudo del user and type Ramesh. Now it is asking password for Ramesh. So that we have to set. Okay. So this is one more concept, giving user to the giving permission to user to as a sudo's users. So here, if I try to delete the user Ramesh, it is asking me to enter the sudo password. Okay. But then that password I have not set up for my main account. So I need to set the sudo password for this account. Then only I will able to delete this user. Okay. So now how we can set that password, right? So first we need to enable the login to that user. So let's create a new account, sudo user add Suresh, and then type a password for Suresh. We will be able incorrect password attempt. Okay. Sudo add user Suresh. It is asking for Ramesh. Password for we are I'm creating to add user Suresh. It is asking me for a password for Ramesh. W. Okay, I'm now perfectly user. Yes, you Dev V123. Okay, I'm able to log into Dev user. Now I want to log out, exit, and I want to create the new users. Sudo user add. Let's use Rahul. Password for Ramesh. It is asking again password for Ramesh. It means there is some glitch with this instance which we have created, because whenever I'm trying to create user, it is asking me for the password for Ramesh. It means there is a hang process, like processes are stuck. So what we can do, we can restart the machine in such cases. Clear. Let me exit once again. So I will be log out from the main user. Okay. Now I came back to the Azure CLI. So let's close this and restart this machine. Go to overview section. Here you will see the option connect, start, restart, stop. So here we will restart this. And here we will see the notification when our machine is ready. So you can see here it is restarting a virtual machine. Let's wait for a minute. Okay, do you have any questions so far regarding this, how to use this cheat sheet and do the practice? I think it is very easy how we can create that. If you have questions or if you are getting, type yes. If you are good, if you are not getting confusing, you can type, you can raise your hand and ask me question till the time our machine get restarted. Okay, it is restarted. Good. Let's connect again. Okay, how many of you created a Linux machine and started practice? Or you type yes in the comment box. If you get a chance, you created a local Linux machine. Ravi created. Good. Anyone else created? Okay, you created a machine. Good. You can, if you are not able to do it, you can practice using a let play with Docker. That way also you can practice. So I am logged in back to my machine. Clear. Let me increase little bit font size. Okay. So now here I want to see the all user accounts. So how I can do that? ls /home. So you can see these are the 3 users I have created. So this is the user which I have created. So let's create a new user, sudo add user Rahul. Okay, now it is working perfectly fine. I can put the password for Rahul. Let's put Rahul123. Retype it Rahul123. Full name you can give it, or you can just press enter and it will skip. Information is correct. Yes. So here you can see adding new user Rahul to supplemental extra groups users. So whenever we create any user, it is a part of a users group. Then adding user to group users. So now here I want to see how many groups membership is having Rahul. So I will type ID Rahul. So it will show me user ID 1004, group ID 1004. So this is a user ID is different, group ID is different. Groups, he is a part of Rahul and users. So 100 users. So now he is a part of 2 groups. One is the own group which we have created, and then the another one by default the group of member of users. Same thing if I do ID for dev, you will be see there is a group user ID 1002 group, and then he's a part of 2 groups, one with the same name and one with the users. Okay. So now here, I hope you understood how to create a new users, how to set password for that user. Okay, Ravi has a question. Yes, Ravi, you can unmute and ask your question.
Sir, last time you are going to create a new customer, but system is asking to enter the Ramesh password. Can you tell why this is happen?
Yeah, so sure, I will tell. So the thing is, here we have not set a sudo password yet. Okay, so just like by default, whenever we create any user account in Azure Virtual Machine, so that part, okay, let me check ID. Let me show you ID. So now here you can see this is a user account by default user using which I have logged in. And if you see user ID, and this is a group ID. And now here if you see groups, so this user ID is a by default member of admin accounts. So you can see 110 admin, 1001 AED admins. So this is a by default member of admin group. So he is able to do the changes. Like he is having a by default admin access. Just like when you format the computer and you start working on it, the first user is a by default admin user. Same thing is happening here. So, but now here, if I want, let's say if you observed, so here if I'm type W, it shows me which user I am logged in. So this is my user and I have logged in with this user account. But let's see if I logged in with the other user. Let's say SU Dave. So you can see now here I am logged in with this user Dave at the rate VM Linux. So this is showing the host name to where I have logged in. And this user, if I see ID Dave, he is not part of a Dave group. So you can see groups are here, but he is not part of Dave group. So here to add the admin accounts, there is a group called sudo, and we need to add people to the membership of that sudo group. Then they will also have the access to sudo, like they are also admin, act as an admin. So this is required. Okay, so now we have just learned how to create the user accounts and how to delete the user accounts. So now here you can see if I'm logged in with the dev, if I want to log out, I will type exit I will type and I will get logged out, and you will see it is showing a dollar symbol. So it is showing only dollar symbol, but sometimes it will show my full username at the rate host name. If I do same thing for the other user, so su Rahul, password for Rahul. Now you can see it is showing me the complete username and then machine to which I have logged in. And this is the path where currently I am. So Rahul cannot create anything here because Rahul don't have permissions. Okay, let's try create a file, touch file 1, 2. You can see it don't have a permission. So where he can check, create the files, he can go to the root of his account. Now this tilde means root of a user's root account. Here he can create the files. Touch sample file. If you do ls, you can see he is able to create the files because here this user is not having a permission. Same thing. Let's try to log in with the location of a dev. So now I am logged in as a Rahul. So let's try to log in at a home/dev. So this is the default location of a user dev. You can see permission denied. He cannot log into other place. Same thing if you have observed the Windows, you can go to Windows and you see you are trying to log in users in other users account. It will not allow you to log in until and unless you are admin on the machine. So if you are admin on the machine, then you can do it. So this is a normal user. Okay, let me try to log in with the default user. So now here I am logged in with the default user. Okay, so now I am trying to switch to the other user's location, cd home dev. Okay, so I need to type slash. It is so this Azure CLI sometimes behaves strange. Home/dev. So you can see here also this user is also not able to do the other user's account. But if he try to log in to his, okay, so who can log in there? So let me check ID sudo. So sudo is a user. Okay, here it is not a user. Then group sudo. Okay, group sudo is also not available. Let's check group admin. Group not found. Okay, so here is a concept called a sudo users. So until and unless you don't have a permission to give to others, so let's try how we can give access to the other users. Okay, so this is called a file permission. So let me log in with the dev, and here I have created a file. Okay, I am at wrong location, so that is why it is not showing me. So let me go to my own. Okay, so you can see here this user has created a sample file. Now here we have learned a command ls-al or la, and here we have seen these parameters. So these are the details. So you can see the first character tells it is a file or a directory. So that we have learned so far. But what about these remaining characters? So these characters are define the file permission. So file permission means these are the permission. These first three characters defines the permission of a user. So this is a dev. Here you can see the first thing. This is a user, dev, and this is a group dev. You can see here. So these three characters define the permission of a user. So this is dev is a user, and the permission he has read and write permission for this file, sample file. Then these are the group permission. So this file, it is a part of a group. Okay. So then this group means if there is any other user, like we have Rahul as other user, if we made him member of this group dev, then what permission he will have? So this is read write permission he will have. And then for others, what permission will have? So for others, it will have only read permission. But who are the others? The other means who are having the sudo permissions. So these are called as others. So these are the three, these are this defines the permission. Now here, what I want to do, I want to add a Rahul as a group member to the dev. Okay, so how I can do that? So here I need to make that user a member of the that group. So here, if I see group, okay, ID Rahul. So here you can see. Let me show both so you will understand. ID dev. Okay. So now here you can see there are the two users. Let's compare them side by side. So this Rahul is a member having user ID 1004 and group ID 1004. So Rahul is a member of a group 1004 and he's a member of a group users. Same thing. This dev is a member of his own group which is created 1002 dev and other groups 1002 and users. So now here is only one common group, that is users. So whatever permissions are there with this, they can have the same. So now here what I want to do, I want to give this dev user permission to access this group Rahul. Okay. So how I can do that? So I can give a user a permission to add this group. So for that, I can give access, but for that I need to have admin access first, then only I can do that. So first I need to log in with the account which has admin access. So I will came back to my root user who has the access to add to the group. So how I can do that? Sudo means admin. Okay, and now command is user add. Then I want to add to the group. Which group I want to add? Let's say I want to add dev to the Rahul group. Then I will type the name of a group. Rahul. Rahul is a group name. And then which user I want to add? I want to add user dev. user add user dev already exist. Okay, sorry, I am using user add. I have to use user mod because user add is used for the adding the user. I want to modify the permission. So I will add this permission hyphen G, name of a group Rahul, and username Dev. So now here, if you can see command is user mod, means modify the user permission. What I have done, I hyphen G stands for group. So what is the group? Rahul is a group and user Dev. So let me check the ID Dev, ID Dev. So now here you can see this Dev user is now member of group Dev as well as Rahul. But now here you can see he has lost the membership of users because I have changed his group. So how I can add this user to the back? So ID Rahul, let's find the group name. The group name is users. Okay. So I can go sudo user mod because I have to modify the group and I want to append. Hyphen A stands for append. Like it will not change the default group, it will append the group. Which group I want to append him? Users group. And who is the user? Dev is the user. Okay, I made a spelling mistake. Sudo user mod. I type user dmod. That's why it gave error. Punji, the group is users, and then username is Dev. So now you can see ID Dev. So now here you can see he is a member of users group as well as Rahul. So now here, if I want to append this existing user to the other user, then I can use hyphen A. But if I did not use a hyphen A, then it will change the default group. So now here we have understood this dev user is having access to this group. Okay. So now let's go to the Rahul user. So this is little bit confusing, but you need to practice. Then you will be smart enough to understand. So now here you can see Rahul has a file, sample file. Okay. So this file is created by Rahul. Let's check the permission of that file. So this is a sample file. Okay. So the member of user has permission to read and write and group member. So in which group this file is? Rahul group. The member of this can read write file. It means now Dev can access this file because he is a member of Rahul group. How we come to know? We check here id dev command and find out the groups and see Dev is having membership of Rahul group. It means whatever permissions to this file has been given to this group will have by default to the Rahul for this Dev. Okay, now log out from this user, typing exit, log in as a Dev, enter the password for Dev. Okay, cd. So where I want to go? I want to go to the location of the Rahul. Now you can see I am at the location of home location of the Rahul user. If I do ls, I can see the sample file. And if I want to read that file, let's see. I can read it, but actually this file is not having any data. We have just created a blank file. So now let's see if Dev user can modify that file. So open that file using VI editor, insert, and you can see this is Dev updating file. and WQ write and quit, and let's do cat. You can see Dave is able to access the file which is in Rahul's location, and he is able to make the changes. Why? Because he has the permission read and write. Okay, so this permissions, uh, I have just given a very short introduction. This is a user, this is a group, and these are the others. And there are two ways how we can manage the user permission and group permission. So that we will see in next lecture, because today it will be a lot of uh, confusing part. So practice these commands which I have shared with you, and then tomorrow we will see the file permissions. For example, here you can see Dave is able to access this file. Okay, but now here I don't want to provide that access to the file. I want to modify that file permission. How I can do that? So here I need to make, this is a read write permission. So I just want to give a read permission there. So this Dev cannot modify this file. Okay. So let me so then I have to make the changes to this file, and then the permissions will be changed. So here get out of this first. Okay, go to the cd/home/Rahul. Okay, so this user don't have a permission because he is not a member of that group. So for that, he need to be a member of this group, and then only he will make able to make the changes. And for that, we need to give a sudo permission to that user, so that he will be admin, and he can make any changes to the any files and folders. So tomorrow we will see how we can give admission permission to the user, as well as we will see how we can change the file permissions. Means we can restrict the access of files, who can read those files, who can write those files. That permission can be changed, and that we will see in tomorrow's session. Okay, do you have any other questions for today's session? Let me know if you have any questions in today's session. You can ask. If you don't have a question, type no, so that I will understand you don't have any questions. Aditya, Tejas, do you have any questions? You understood the today's part, what we have learned? So today we learned how to create a new users, how to set a password to that user, and then how to add groups to the user. Okay. So tomorrow we will see how to give a user permission as a sudo permission, and how to change the files and folder permission in Linux. Okay. If you are good, we can stop here and see you tomorrow, same time. We'll use the same link for the session. And if link changed, you will get updates on the group.